Hello Earthlings and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be doing a very late winter TBR because the time I'm filming this and when it's coming out really is the end of January. So really we've only got February left. So I'm going to let it seep into March just because, you know, I probably won't get all these read. It's not an overly generous pile, but there's a bit of page count I would say that would probably intimidate me and make me read something else. Starting with the smallest page count is The Battle for the Pumpkin King. This is a Nightmare Before Christmas story, original graphic story within the universe. See, it's kind of like a prequel, and here's why. So it's about Oogie Boogie and Jack Skellington. Of course, we know them in the movie as sworn enemies, you know, the most epic rivals of the Halloween town, basically. And this kind of takes a look at life before then, when they wasn't rivals. They were actually best friends. They did everything together and they were trying their best to make the town the scariest and best Halloween town there could ever be. But it goes into the question of what happened between these best friends to make them arch nemesi. And I'm really intrigued to learn about that. Something epic must have gone on to disrupt their balance. There was also the aspect of there being only one Pumpkin King, so I'm assuming that had to do with it, but I hope it's got a little more depth in there than that as well, because, you know, friendship, fragile things, aren't they? Very complex things. So I reckon maybe a lot has been bubbling below the surface. I'm looking forward to this one. I think I picked this up at Yauk back in November. The next book, actually probably like half of these books are libraries. This is Heather Fawcett's Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies last month and I liked it. I had a good time with it. Like, reflecting on it now, I definitely didn't want to go out my way and buy a copy because it wasn't like mega 5 stars what I was expecting, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in my wrap up for January. But I still wanted to see where the story went. I know there's about 3 books in total out at the moment. I don't know if it's a continuous thing, like an ongoing piece, or if it is just that 3 books. But obviously this is the sequel. We learn a little bit more about Emily's explorations within the Fae realm, followed by her arch nemesis, or scholarly rival, shall we say, because it's not that deep, Wendell Brambley. And I think we see a little bit more dynamic and sort of friendship and relationship growth between the two of them as they continue to study together. You see a bit more of that like friendlier side between them two, and obviously it continues off directly from the first book, so I don't want to spoil too much of what happened in the climax, I guess, of the first one, because it seems like it goes kind of straight into that. But I am looking forward to seeing more of the fairies and learning about different areas they go, their kind of folklore and legends. I love that sort of thing, so hopefully enjoy this one. I've also got the audio book of this downloaded too, so I'm going to be blended reading, which is what I did with the first book, to be fair. So yeah, that's also on my winter TBR. Following on, I'd hoped I'd finished this in January, but honestly I haven't picked it up for a while, and it's not because I'm not enjoying it, it's just awkward to carry around with me. And when I get home, a lot of the time recently I've not been like physically reading. If I have been reading, it's been audiobooks. But anyway, this is Brom's Krampus, which is the first Brom book that I have ever picked up, ever read. I've got a couple of his works, but I thought Krampus was a good one to pick up during December. Obviously I didn't finish it, haven't finished it still. I am currently on chapter 6, and yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. It's really intriguing. We're following the character of Krampus, who's the Yule Lord, and he's kind of seen as the opposite, almost like of balance, of Santa Claus, where Santa is good and jolly and giving out gifts to good children. You often see Krampus depicted following him in his wake, like taking children and giving coal to them, and yeah, doing all the more nefarious things, like the shadow, I guess you could say, of Santa Claus. However, this story turns it on its head a little bit, and you get more of a curiosity thrown on Santa, if he's really all that he claims to be, and is he actually stealing the good and the bad of what Krampus actually embodies. So yeah, we're seeing it through the perspective of our main character, whose name I've forgotten, Jesse, who is down on his luck. He is separated currently from his wife and child, although he's kind of living in the first stages of like denial because he really thinks he can win them back. And I don't know, maybe he can, but it seems like a lot to unpack for him personally. And then of course all this fantastical stuff. He sees Santa's Christmas sack drop down, he picks it up, and he just gets thrown into this good versus evil complexity, grey in between, magical Christmas horror. So yeah, I would like to try and polish this off by the end of February at least, because I think I'm just definitely gonna fall off of it after all the Christmassy vibes fall out. Like, it is, I wouldn't say it's a Christmas book at its heart so far. Like, it is definitely more like a horror, like a character study sort of thing, I guess you could say, fantasy, but it's set during Christmas Eve and like the festivity days surrounding that. And of course the main characters are people that we are like our figureheads that we represent for Christmas, do you know what I mean? So I think with that in my head, if it goes beyond February, I probably will end up leaving it until next year, which is crazy. I've only just got a book off of my currently reading list that had been on there for like 7 years, and I just didn't finish it, so I don't want that to fall in its place, do you know what I mean? Anyway, the last two books are library books. So these ones I've had out for quite a while and I need to get them returned. They're ones that I'm equally both excited about, but obviously I wouldn't bring them in if I wasn't excited. But you know, life gets in the way, books get in the way of other books, and you end up forgetting and they're at the bottom of the pile. But anyway, World War Z by Max Brooks. This is supposed to be so acclaimed. I know they've got I think it's the multi-award winning movie version. And it's like the end of the world, zombies. My other half keeps asking if we can watch the movie because he's seen it and loves it and he knows I'm going to enjoy it. But I'm like, I want to read the book first. And yeah, the book's time is now, I think. I think I need to get up to the Emily Wilde book because I kept saying that was going to be one of my next reads and I've just not picked it up yet. And then this one. So both of those, I think, are my next like physical and audio blends, because I'm pretty sure I've got an audio version of this as well. So for more detail, just to refresh my own mind, it began with rumours from China about another pandemic. Then the cases started to multiply, and what had looked like the stirrings of a criminal underclass, even the beginnings of a revolution, soon revealed itself to be much, much worse. Faced with a future of mindless man-eating horror, humanity was forced to accept the logic of world government and face events that tested our sanity. Based on extensive interviews with survivors and key players in the 10-year fight back against the zombie horde, World War Z brings the finest traditions of journalism to bear on what is surely the most incredible story in the history of civilization. That's what really intrigued me, is that it's interviewed, it's told through like oral stories passed down, and I really like that idea of the story being told by many people and in kind of like a scientific reporter kind of blend research facility. I think that sounds really cool, and it adds credibility to the source. I'm probably gonna feel that I'm really immersed in the story and it feels believable, so I'm looking forward to that. And then the last book is Hemlock Island by Kelly Armstrong. So this follows Lainey Kilpatrick, who has been renting her vacation home to strangers. The invasion of privacy gives her panic attacks, but it's the only way she can keep her beloved Hemlock Island, which is the only thing that she owns after a pandemic-fueled divorce. But broken belongings and campfires that nearly burned down the house have escalated to bloody bones, hex circles, and now terrified renters who fled after finding blood and nail marks all over the guest room closet, as though someone tried to claw their way out and failed. When Lainey shows up to investigate with her teenage niece in tow, she discovers that her ex, Kit, had also been informed and is there with Jayla, his sister, and Lainey's former best friend. Then Sadie, another old high school friend, charters a boat over with her brother, who's now a cop. There are tensions and secrets, whispers in the woods, and, before long, the discovery of a hand poking up from the earth, then the body that goes with it. But by that time, someone has taken their only means of transportation off the island, and they're trapped with someone or something that doesn't want them to leave the island alive. Sounds really haunting, super fantastic, really isolated horror. I love stuff like that. So there we have it. Those are all the books that I have on my very tiny timeline of winter left. That is my winter TBR. Let me know if you've read any of these books yourselves, or if they're even on your TBR. I would love to know. But yes, that is all for me. Thank you so much for watching. I shall catch you in another video soon. Bye.